Welcome to How's Your ePresence? This show is produced by Business Radio X, and I am Mark Galvin, your host. We are coming to you live from the Subaru of Gwinnett studio inside the Sonesta Gwinnett Place Atlanta Hotel. Welcome to all of you. Thank you for being with us today. As you know, here on How's Your ePresence, we talk about marketing and digital, helping you on the digital side of your marketing efforts and general businesses, good practices. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you more than you know. We are constantly creating great content for your library, right? So if you're looking for answers on ways that you can do your business a little better, we've got a library sitting there on YouTube, on Facebook, and on LinkedIn that you could refer to, and on our podcast channel. Here's some examples of stuff we've talked about in the past. How to do SEO a little better. How to make and use landing pages. How about this one? This will fit with today. How to use the power of sound. So lots of great content out there. Please be sure to go back and check those. We are always running live shows on either Tuesday at 10 or Thursday at 3. Put us on your calendar and join us. If you tune in live, you can submit questions. And we'd love for you to submit questions so that we can throw them right at our guests. So just like always, do that today, and we would be thrilled to answer a question that you have. Today, we're going to talk about musical instruments and business. Plus, we're also going to talk about picking the right brand, among other things. So stay tuned. If you're watching on YouTube, on Facebook, or on LinkedIn, please subscribe. We'd love for you to get that notification when we go live, and it gives you a chance to personally interact with our guests. Okay, so what are we doing today? We have a great show for you today. Our guest is Bronkar Lee. He is with Spread the Good Stuff. Yes, the name of the company is Spread the Good Stuff. He is a dad, a lover of nature and music, and a believer in the magic of the universe. He has starred in his own journey as a musician and plays over 40 instruments. He has toured Europe as a ringmaster in a world-renowned circus. He's appeared with Jay Leno on The Tonight Show. You can tell I'm pretty excited about having this guest on. He has starred in Super Bowl commercials. Today, he pays his bills generally by being an inspiring and engaging keynote presenter. He's performed over 5,000 live events for companies like Google, Facebook, YouTube, and Disney Cruise Lines. He once dropped a video that went viral of him beatboxing with his son and has over 200 million views. He is the founder of a newish organization called Spread the Good Stuff. He and his wife and business partner, Cindy, have launched this new venture because in everything he'd done up into his life until starting the company, from music to circus to speaking, his main intention had always been simply spread the good stuff. So there are no complicated diagrams or scientific charts or graphs, just authentic passion and purpose. And for those of you that watch our show, you know that I don't typically read the entire bio. That one was so good, I had to. So reminder, if you've got a question, drop it right there in your chat box. We will throw it at Bronkar. Enough of me talking. Let's meet Bronkar. Bronkar, welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
I am so glad to see you. I will tell you, you are, and Mike, I cannot hear Bronkar in my headset. I will tell you, I am so glad you're here because you and I have met each other a couple times. I have seen you perform, and you do some impressive stuff. I'm just going to tell you, I'm very impressed with the work you do. One of the things that you 40 instruments, that's a lot of instruments. How did you learn to play 40 instruments?
It just happened one night. And I woke up and no,
just boom. I've heard of people walking up to a piano being able to play it. Is that how it happened with you?
No, it's a process. It's a lifestyle, and it's just like anything. And the way that I look at learning musical instruments is Every time I learn a new instrument, I'm never starting from scratch. I'm always morphing into the next iteration of a previous instrument that I've learned.
Huh.
So everything in life, including, anything that the listeners here have learned, think about your life's path and the skills that you've acquired,
right?
That have led you to this moment right here, the industry you're in, the career that you have. Think about all of those skills. I mean, the fundamentals of speaking, of communicating, and how those are then leveraged into, typing and texting, and those are leveraged into, different types of skills. We're never starting from scratch. We're always morphing into that next iteration. So once I learn a stringed instrument, for example, a bass guitar translates to an electric guitar, translates to a violin. There's subtleties inside of fretless, non-fretless, a bow, a pick, fingers. I mean, there's all of these subtleties and nuances, but ultimately it's this instrument, these, motor skills and mechanical skills here then translate and transfer into the next iteration.
So you're telling me that by my starting off on my Mac computer some 20 minutes ago, actually it was more like 20 years ago, that I learned some skills on that computer that I was able to graduate on and do other things, kind of like what you've done with instruments. Is that
absolutely
parallel?
Yeah.
Interesting. How have you seen business people put this to practice? Do you have examples? Because I know you work with people and you help them do their work better. You help them be better human beings and as a result, find their souls a little better. Mm-hmm. Have you had people who have been able to see that parallel and convert that into real life action?
Absolutely. And a lot of it comes to the mindset. Fundamentally, it's the mindset. It's okay. Once we have achieved a level of mastery at X, Y, or Z, then we can apply that mindset to A, B, and C. And so if I've achieved a high level at this particular thing, if I can figure out how to get in that mindset, but be the beginner, then I can transfer that. And I can basically, I think that the biggest limitation for human beings is ourselves. Like we get in our own way, and we've heard that in different, sayings, but we get in our own way. We're our biggest roadblock in life. And so if we can get out of our own way and we can be the beginner, but also incorporate the level of mastery that we've had in another realm, then we can lean into that new experience, right? With that confidence and that power, because we're operating from that place of power.
So I got an interesting question. I mean, there's so many things going through my head. And the one thing that comes to mind is that this happens to me, and I'm assuming this happens to other people, that you go into the day, you're doing your routine, and it's just not happening, right? Mm-hmm. You're struggling with it. And there are times, okay, I know I need to work that checklist, but I can't seem to get it. And you're going to laugh. If I don't find the checklist motivating, or I can't seem to attack it, I pick up the phone and call somebody, because I'm such an extrovert. And if I interact with someone, I'll put down the phone. I'll be like, yes, I'm ready to do this. But not everybody's wired that way. What you're sharing is you're saying, peel back and get back to the basics in a way. And I know it is not the most eloquent way. You say it so much better, because you do need to go back when you're learning something new and you have to execute. It is better to go back and remember that childlike state of the curiosity. You've got kids. Tell us about you've got two sons, I believe. What are their ages?
Yeah, I got two boys, Elijah and Nico. So 3 and 5. So Elijah is, his nickname is Beautiful Rainbow Fireworks, and Nico is the Little Red Dragon.
Wait. I'd love to hear that. But anyway, we'll have to get down to the Little Red Dragon part a little later.
Oh, he is every bit fireball, every bit red, curly hair, and he is full tilt boogie. From the time he wakes up to the time he hits the pillow, it is just full on. But I wanted to just touch on, because we can go down the parenting rabbit hole deeply.
You and I can always go down rabbit holes.
We've got plenty of rabbit holes and gopher holes and all kinds of holes. But but I wanted to touch on, because what you mentioned there was going down the checklist or the to-do list and really optimizing your kind of that peak performance state and being able to really execute at a high level and
consistently.
And I think sometimes we get in funks, right? And not the good kind of funk, right? It's like the bad kind of funk. And so then we want to change up our state, right? We want to shake things up. Maybe we want to go take a cold shower. Maybe we want to call somebody, a cheerleader that's going to pump us up. We want to kind of redirect. We want to We want to, because, we've all heard a lot of talk about, knock the big dominoes out first, right? Get those big things done first, and then everything else is
the
easy.
Big three.
Right, exactly. And that is absolutely true. And every day is a new day. Right. And every single day is a new day. And so some days are different than others. Some days more preferred, less preferred. And, it's optimal, suboptimal, however we want to, label it. But when we get in that funk, that is the less preferred funk, to shake things up, to change the state, to get some kind of a win under our belt is really important. And this goes back to, I used to be a really high level juggler. So I have a few world records.
Wait.
Yeah.
So you play 40 instruments and you juggle.
And it's all the same.
I got a couple water bottles here.
And it's all the same. But the thing is, it's all the same thing. It's eye-hand coordination. It's just, it's programming and patterning. It's all the same thing. Like juggling.
Wait. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hand-eye coordination.
Yeah.
If you're athletic is what I'm hearing, I could play an instrument because playing an instrument is athletic.
Yeah, very much. Well, if you look at something like brass, if you look at woodwinds, if you look at, any brass instrument is very athletic. So you have to create your embouchure sound. So you have all these inner mechanics.
Wait, what was that word?
Embouchure.
Embouchure. O-M-B?
So you're producing these different, your different.
You just got Mike's attention.
Right.
That's awesome. So being able to play so you could probably play a brass instrument because you're able to control all the parts of your mouth to make all those sounds.
Yes,
That's athletic.
I can produce tones on a brass instrument. I am not a brass instrumentalist. So I own.
Just for the record.
Just for the
record.
It's
not one of the 40.
Yeah. But it's in other words, when I say that athletic ability there is, number one, there's the eye hand.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay, I want to do this thing. So I wiggle my finger in this particular way, and then I produce this particular sound. Okay.
All right. Yeah.
With brass, or I play a lot of woodwind. So I play a lot of flutes, saxophone, things like that. And to produce a sound, it requires all of your being, all of your essence. It literally takes your breath, your lips, your tongue, your embouchure. That's all of this inner working here around your mouth.
Wow.
And it takes your fingers, and you're using spidey senses because you're not able to see your fingers when you're wiggling your fingers around in different combinations, which is very different than like piano. Piano, literally, the instrument is in tune. Like a keyboard is absolute tuning. So all you do is you walk up and you want to play middle C, you push the button and it plays.
You're just making people that play the piano look, they're so pedestrian. They don't have all this other stuff going on.
I'm not saying that at all. Because piano is an infinitely complicated instrument because you have 10 digits, you have 88 keys, you have so many combinations of chords, scales, everything, dynamics. There's so much, so infinite.
All right, we won't call them pedestrian.
Right.
But what you are saying is, what was that word again?
Embouchure.
Yeah. To be able to put all that together is a lot. It's a different kind of skill set, and it's not necessarily that easy is what you're sharing.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. How does that apply to a business person?
How does that apply to a business? Well, that comes back to the skill acquisition.
Okay.
Right. So when we can learn X, Y, or Z, then we can apply it to A, B, or C, like I was saying before, right? So that
transfers to other instruments.
Yeah,
you can do more.
Yeah, leverageability, transferability, things like that. Sometimes there's a direct connection. Sometimes it's a little more abstract.
Yep.
Sometimes it's like, oh, well, I'm going to play this instrument for therapeutic purposes. So I can totally zone out. Like you were saying, if you're not rocking your day and knocking out the checklist, maybe you need to take a little, I call them brain breaks.
Yep.
And it's like, take a little brain break, shake things up. Maybe at that point you go, and maybe your jam is jumping in the swimming pool or taking a cold shower, doing something, or calling somebody in your case.
I totally got to talk to somebody.
Or going and doing something like, actually, I've taught a lot of people how to juggle, because juggling is a fantastic eye-hand coordination. It's an exercise that is requires a certain amount of focus, but it's a different type of focus than like, I've got to make business calls, I've got to send emails, I've got to, create a spreadsheet.
Is it a different part of the brain that does the juggling?
Yeah.
Is there a right left side that has an impact here?
Yeah, there's a lot of research done. I'm not a neuroscientist, but it's like,
well, you look like a neuroscientist.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, it's the beard. But there's a lot of research done around that and creating gray matter and things like that around, juggling. Because essentially what you're doing in juggling is you're creating new patterns. Every different move that you do or trick that you do is basically programming a different spatial, like a geometric shape. and pattern. And so you actually program each of those, just like you would make a shape on, if anybody's listening that plays guitar, you make different chords and they're basically shapes with your fingers. Piano, different shapes with your fingers to make chords. Same thing with juggling. You make different shapes and throwing. The difference is you're tossing an object, which becomes infinitely more complicated. You're tossing an object to make a shape.
Factors,
right. There's many more variables.
Yeah.
And that's what obsessed me about, I did rhythmic juggling. That's what I did. The whole Tonight Show and Super Bowls and all that stuff came from art form that I created, which was a cross-pollination of multiple skills, which I call recombinant innovation. And in recombinant innovation, I combined vocal percussion, the beatboxing, juggling, and inverted juggling on custom drums that I made. Wow. So it was this really odd synthesis of multiple skills coming together. And that was kind of that was
okay. This beatboxing, I am always amazed at your ability to do that. Mike, don't go away. I want you to play my theme music here in a second. So if you can have that handy. I know that you did a video with your son, and there's a long story, and I do urge all of you to go find this story online, because Bronkar's connection with the son, that's a whole nother story. It's a whole nother 30-minute show, is engaging. But you did this beatboxing with your son, and he was really young.
Yeah, 19 months old.
Okay. And so you're interacting. So here's what I want to do. I want you to beatbox to our theme music. Is that fair? Can I put you on there?
I don't know how that's going to sync up, though, if there's going to be a latency there, because we didn't sound. I'm a big sound nerd.
Well, so we'll get it started, and then we'll turn the music off.
Oh, so you'll give a demonstration, and then I'm
a little sound, and then you get to riff from there, and we'll just kick the music off. How's that sound? Does that work?
That sounds like I'm not going to say no.
All right, well, let's go. So we'll play a little, and then you get to take it from there. That is just so cool.
It's fun.
That is so awesome.
Well, I get a lot of the questions people ask all the time, like, what's your favorite instrument? And it's like, well, the self. You are the walking instrument. Yeah, because every instrument, the way that I look at learning instruments is they're all different tools that we can use to build bridges of relatability with other people. They're basically personal essence amplifiers. So the way that I play trumpet is the same way that I play piano, is the same way that I play guitar. And all of that is an extension of the self. And so I believe that mastery of the self is where it begins. And when we can master our own instrument, then we can express ourselves through anything.
That's so cool.
How we do anything is how we do everything.
Well, that's so cool. All right, let's get back to business.
Let's get it.
Thank you for sharing a little bit of your unbelievable talent. You started the company, Spread the Good Stuff. You guys can see his T-shirt he's got on here. Spread the Good Stuff T-shirts. People can buy those.
They can.
Right. All right. We'll share where you can get those. We'll put that in the show notes.
It's pretty easy. People could figure it out. They just type in Spread the Good Stuff. Put a little .com at the end, and there you go.
That's it. So it's spreadthegoodstuff.com.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Why Spread the Good Stuff? Tell me how you landed on this, and what is it what kind of advice can you give to a business person who's maybe starting a company, looking to start a company, looking to roll out a new product line? Why are you doing this, and what can we learn from it?
Yeah, great questions. So for us, it became Spread the Good Stuff is such a simple name. It's so simple. And it's so memorable, and you can't help but quote it. You're like, "Oh, that's some good stuff."
I say it all the time.
Yeah, and you can't help it. And so it's this natural, like the earworm or the buzz or the hook or whatever you want to say, like in musical terms, right? That hook got stuck in my head, and then it's like it's the song that never ends. And I'm not going to sing it and get it stuck in everybody's head, but it probably is stuck in some people's heads without even singing it.
Right.
So if you have that quotable brand name that is simple, it's like Spread the Good Stuff. Oh, well, then we naturally say it, and then we catch ourselves on it, and then we're constantly like reminding ourselves of, oh yeah, that's that guy, or oh, it's that thing, and oh, I have that T-shirt, or oh, I should get a mug, or whatever it is, and it's like then you quote that good stuff. And so what we wanted to do was, it kind of came out organically as far as the naming of it.
Right.
There's two parts to this. One is we wanted to simplify things. We wanted to make something that had that memorability, that easy, repeatable kind of feel to it, right? That people could spread. Literally, it's a call to action. Spread the good stuff. Okay, I can do that. So it's a verb.
Very actionable. Yeah, absolutely.
And we can remember it. It's spread the good stuff. It's 4 syllables, 4 words. They're all single syllable words, right? So memorable, so easy. Then the other part was, we realized that in my career of 20 plus years of being an entertainer, a keynote speaker, a coach, whatever it is, fill in the blank, at the fundamental baseline of everything, there was this omnipresent undercurrent of spreading the good stuff. It's like, why am I learning to play guitar? Why am I learning to juggle? Why am I learning to do public speaking? Why am I learning to coach? Why am I learning these things? And it's all really to bring out the best in others. It's all really to empower other people. It's all really to remind other people that what they do matters and to help amplify their goodness within them, so that then it creates that ripple effect or echo effect out in the world. And that really fundamentally, it was always the mission. And then we came up with that title that was basically the cosmic umbrella for everything that we do, which is spreading the good stuff.
I think it's awesome. And it does become part of someone's DNA when they're around you. I do find myself saying, hey, we need to get, we need more of that good stuff. We got, hey, that's good stuff. It does naturally happen. And I think that's really brilliant. So what product do you sell?
Yeah, great question. I get that a lot. They're like, what
besides
is,
t-shirts?
Yeah, what is this thing? Yeah, so we do have some merch. We do have mugs and t-shirts and things like that. But I also do a lot of so I do keynote speaking.
Yep.
I do performance. So so that's kind of the live events.
That's spreading good stuff right there.
It is.
Very entertaining.
So I work in the live event space a lot. I do large conferences and theaters and all kinds of things.
Okay.
And then in the coaching realm, I do a lot of personal development. So I work with small groups. I work with corporations. I do a lot, personal development. Really, my whole thing is about, as we can keep our inner instruments in tune, then we can show up and make beautiful music with the people around us, the world around us. And so we focus a lot on personal development and different techniques. Obviously, we use the metaphor of music, right, for being in tune.
Sure.
Like, if you think of a guitar string, if it's too tight, it's too tense, overwhelmed, it's sharp.
Break.
It could pop. Yeah. Or if it's too loose, it's too low, it's flat, it's uninspired, lack of energy, right? Depressed, low, whatever that is.
They need to make a phone call.
Right. Yeah. We need, right. We want to have that. We want to have it just right. A little bit of tension keeps the guitar in tune, right? Okay. So it's not just totally flat, but we want to find that Goldilocks zone. And so that's when we can use that metaphor of, on a daily basis, how am I feeling today? What is my inner instrument tuned to today? How am I tuned? And so we think of it, and we always get the answers to the questions that we ask of life. So when we ask questions like, what is my inner instrument tuned to today? Am I ready to show up and harmonize with my wife or my kids or my colleagues or my coworkers or my clients? Am I in my optimal performance state first? Because if we are not in tune, how can we expect to show up and harmonize and make beautiful music with the people around us?
There's a lot to unpack there. You're taking all of everything that you just shared, and you're using that in coaching. You're using that in your keynote. You're using that in all the aspects of spread the good stuff, so that you can just basically, spread the good stuff. There's a question. There's a comment you made in there that someone has to question. How do I, or what do I? And that's an important part. People have to be willing to say, how do I get better? At the most basic sense. And you can make that there could be so many other questions that come out of that. How do I make more money? How do I stay motivated? But basically, how can I be better? You're able to channel that through spread the good stuff to say you can get better by considering XYZ.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's a conversation. That's a dialogue.
Yeah,
so there's so many, we look at this, the same thing in the music metaphor. We look at cycles and patterns and tuning, right? Cycles per seconds is how things are tuned, right? The reason why people say A440 is in tune is because it's 440 cycles per second. That's what makes the tone A, right? That note, right? So the same thing, you can look at BPMs, beats per minute. What is your standing heart rate? You know, what is so you can look at this and gauge this this musical metaphor and apply it directly to your life. What is your tempo of communication? How quickly or slowly are you responding to texts or emails or making calls or whatever it is? There's a metaphor that's all around us, and everything in life is rhythm, everything. So we use music literally as, hey, we're going to play some music here. We're going to play an instrument. And we're going to use that to be a tool. And I can unpack a little bit more inside of that. But also metaphorically, what is our awareness of rhythm? Everything is rhythm. Everything, the broadcast that we're doing is rhythm. The way that I'm gesturing my hands is rhythm. The tempo in which I am speaking is rhythm. Is rhythm. Right. And then we have inflection and different, melody is such an important part as well. And so we look at just the communication and language, and there's so much to unpack inside of that.
The communication, the beats of a communication can inspire people to feel a certain way, right? It's kind of, we were before the show started, we were talking about you did some stand-up comedy, and you were great because of the way you delivered it. Your content wasn't great, but
not funny at all. Like nothing that I've ever written has been witty or punny or funny.
But the way you delivered it still made people laugh. And that is cadence, it's timing, it's all of those things, which are all so important. So I could even see that could be part of spreading the good stuff. How can you communicate with your teams a little better? So we're officially out of time, believe it or not. Well, you and I said this. It's going to be over like that. I would love for you to tell people, where can they find you? We already know spreadthegoodstuff.com. Is there anything else out there? There's a link that you wanted to mention.
There's a gift that we'd like to give all the listeners today. It's 100% free. It's called Master Your Morning. And what it is when we can master our morning, then we can master our day, we can master our lives. And that comes back to that inner instrument being in tune. And
sweet.
And so we have a gift in there, which is, it's an entire album of instrumental handpan music, one of the cool instruments that I like to play. There's a couple of guided meditations, but don't worry, they're meditations that don't suck. Right. So for anybody that is not a meditator,
you're inferring that some meditations do suck.
I would never say such a thing.
I'm constantly trying to get you to drive over the bus over someone.
But what
a piano player?
You are. I see how you're steering me. But no, one of my passions is to bring meditation to the mainstream, mindfulness to the masses, because there's a way that we can bake the ingredients of meditation and mindfulness into our recipe of life. And when we can do that in a current version that fits the entrepreneur, the solopreneur, the business leader, the human being that's existing today in this century, then it can be a powerful tool in our tool belt. And so that's one of my passions. So I use music blended with guided visualization or meditation in a way that doesn't suck, that aligns the mind for success. And when we can use that at the beginning of the day, we can give ourselves permission to pause the music, listen within, adjust the tempo, press play again. We can turn the volume of the external world down, the volume of the inner self up. Then we can really find that beacon that is driving us. We can align our minds for success, and then we can show up and operate from our place of power. So we have a couple meditations in this PDF printout and all this stuff. But anyway, it's Master Your Morning, and there's a bit.ly link in there. I think,
and it's on the screen.
Yeah, it's on the screen. Okay, perfect.
I don't have the screen in front of me, but I know it's on the screen. Yep, I'm getting okay. It's on the screen. So there you go, folks. You can see it on the screen. We will put that in the show notes. So if you're listening to this on a podcast, look at the show notes. You'll see that. And I'll tell you what, I'm gonna read it out loud just to make sure all of you have it. It's bit.ly, so bit.ly/good stuff morn. Good stuff, MORN. Good stuff morn. That is good stuff. Just saying. Any place else you want people to go? We got the website already. We've got thank you for the gift for our listeners. Anything else?
That's it. That's it. And I just, I love you listeners, whoever you are, wherever you are.
We definitely love our listeners. There's little Bronkar, thank you for being here. This was fun. You and I, for some of you that know this already, he lives around the corner from me, and there's this great park. And I spent an afternoon, met him. We went for a walk around the park. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Hopefully you remember that.
Oh yeah.
And among the trees and the lake there, got to hear the Bronkar Lee story, which is the whole story is fantastic. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you, my friend.
Thanks for
and we'll see you soon. For the rest of you folks, thanks for joining us here on How's Your ePresence. What do we do? What is ePresence all about? We offer full service social media management. This is personal, company. We offer consulting. We offer training all on social media. We even have a new division called eForensics, where we will help lawyers find content, really gather content that's sitting out there on social media that you need to, for litigation. If you would like to take advantage of any of that, as a How's Your ePresence listener, you automatically get a 5% discount on all of our services. Go right there to the link that's on your screen, or just let us know that you heard about the discount when you call us, and we'll give you that 5% discount. How's Your ePresence is broadcast live each month on the third Thursday at 3 here on Business Radio X. You can listen to any of our shows 24/7 by going to businessradiox.com and selecting the Gwinnett Studio. How's Your ePresence is everywhere outside of Business Radio X as well. We are live on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Please subscribe. Put that subscribe button on the screen. Subscribe so you know when we go live, and you can ask a question of any of our guests. If you're a podcast listener, website is epresence.me/podcast. You can catch a link to all of our podcast locations. We are everywhere. If you're on Spotify, look for us there. If you want to catch us on Castbox, you can find us on there. Just look up How's Your ePresence. We are dropping new content every single week, so you want to make sure we add that you add us to your podcast app. Also, you can hit our website as a resource for all of our shows, epresence.me. That's epresence.me, because it's all about you. The show is produced by Amanda Perch and Mike. Actually, it's promoted by Amanda and produced by Mike Salmon. The video production assistant is our own Morgan Wood. Until next time, for my guest, Bronkar Lee, I'm Mark Galvin, and this has been How's Your ePresence.